Welcome back. This is episode 24. I have Jacob Peterson on. He's a new power lifter, but he has a pretty incredible story. I was glad to be able to share this with people. I wanted to first jump in with some definitions, just some things to keep in mind during the podcast. Um, Jacob has cerebral palsy. He has a deficit on his right side, so um, his right arm and leg don't function the same way that ours do. The true definition for cerebral palsy is it's a brain disorder that appears in infancy and early childhood that permanently affects your body movement and muscle coordination. It's caused by changes in a developing brain that disrupt the ability to control movement and maintain posture and balance. So most people have seen someone with CP in a motorized wheelchair or something like that. There's just different categories of it, just like with anything else. Um, Jacobs is luckily much more functional, but it still does leave him at a deficit to able-bodied people. So Jacob has what they would call spastic hemiplegia, cerebral palsy, leaving paralysis or weakness in arm, hand on one side of the body, and often affects the leg as well in the same way. The spasticity part of things typically is where a muscle can get stuck or doesn't want to extend all the way with acceleration or with just extension of that joint. It'll just stick. You can imagine if you couldn't straighten your arm out all the way, or if when you did straighten it out all the way with weight, it didn't want to stay that way. You can imagine how difficult that would be to lift with and live with. But we're talking about powerlifting here, so just imagining that as he goes through what it feels like. Apologies for not being as active. I've been moving around a good bit. This is the first intro I've done, the second episode I've done since I've moved around and got back to Birmingham. But I appreciate everyone's patience and people still reaching out and watching and sharing and everything. I still want to thank Powerlifting United for helping us out. They do great work with just being supportive of everything we do, and I'm happy for that. The season just ended in Alabama, but we've got readily approaching next year, and I believe the first meet's going to be in February, so be on the lookout for that. I also wanted to mention 365 Strong. There's a meet in Mobile, Alabama, in January on the 26th. If you don't have anything to do, if you want to come down and watch, I'll be there. If you want to compete, that's even better. He's doing half price for newbie lifters, so it's a good chance to get in. If you know someone, if you have a client or something like that, want to get them in on a good show, it'll be a good one. They've got Kyler down there, so it should be something interesting. Also, Les Keys is competing, so that should be a fun one. Other than that, I don't have anything new, and we'll just jump right into it with Jacob. Yeah, appreciate y'all hanging out and listening.
Before we get started, I just want to say thank you for letting me come on. I know I would say I'm a relative unknown in the powerlifting space. I'm very new to the game. I'll say I've been training since last June, I want to say, and the progress that I've made in that short of a time span is insane. To just get started, to just let everyone know, my name's Jacob Peterson. I am a adaptive athlete powerlifter adaptive athlete in USAPL and parasport, pa- parasport, however you want to pronounce it, lifter for the POU. And a little bit about myself. I've got mild cerebral palsy on my right side. The long and short of it, I'll just go and get into it. I was born with mild cerebral palsy on my right side. I was born 2 months premature. My brother and I were supposed to essentially share a birthday on October 24th. And the doctors told my parents that I was going to have around 48 hours to live. And if I were to get through that, I would have been a vegetable. And essentially my dad uh told the doctors, this is the only time I'm going to swear like this. He basically told them to go fuck themselves, and he told them that's not going to be my son. So he donated the legal amount of blood that you could donate to make sure I'd be okay. Um, I got through that, and I was walking by. Well, I was talking by 18 months, walking. No, yeah, walking by 18 months, talking by 2 years old, and that was just the first hurdle that I got through. And yeah, I've been living with it ever since, and I'll get into it in whatever questions you want to ask me. So
Well, let's just start by telling people like what cerebral palsy is.
so it's so it's so cerebral palsy is it's got there's a lot of different applications for cerebral palsy. Well, applications is probably wrong
It's like
word
a lot of
there.
categories, a lot of different
Yeah,
variations.
it's there's the kind that I have is extremely mild. The basically I've got just like muscular uh, paralyzation of my right side. I don't really have a lot of motor function on my right side. Actually, when I was younger, I had to wear a brace on my right leg to help me walk correctly. And when I was uh and I was I mean you grew up we're around the same age, so I was called every kind of name in the book you can think of. And um it just because of that I had a lot of confidence issues as a kid. And to highlight, so there's the kind of cerebral palsy that I have is a very mild version. I know a lot of different people that also have the same kind, but uh with different attributes. Like one person that I know is also a powerlifter. She actually has all she can use every quadrant of her body. It's just she has a lot of muscle spasms where me, I don't really have a lot of muscles. I don't have many, if any, muscle spasms. The only thing that I have to deal with really is just motor function. I'm not literally not able to use my right hand at all outside of gripping and picking things up. When I had two additional surgeries when I was a kid. So, uh, the thing that resulted in me being born with mild cerebral palsy is I had a grade 4 brain bleed on the left side of my head,
Hmm.
and that's what could have caused me to be a vegetable. Essentially, I essentially had a stroke. Like if you know anything about those kind of like brain bleeds, that's like the most severe one that you can have. And it completely like shut off that part of my brain, and that resulted in my CP. And the two additional surgeries I had as a kid was heel extension surgery on my leg. Uh, I used to walk toe to heel, and that was to um correct an issue in my Achilles, to essentially lengthen my Achilles to where I could walk correctly. And uh before that, I had Botox surgery or Botox shots in my right arm to where I could actually fully extend my right arm to to be able to use my to have more functionality in my arm to where I could grip things, throw things, stuff like that. And um yeah, I kind of had to relearn how to do stuff specifically with my right side. And this is I was like 10 or 11 when this happened.
Is that when
So
you had the both surgeries or just one?
no, I had
The
sorry.
Achilles link
I
cutting?
was Yeah, when I was 9 when I had the Achilles
Yeah.
lengthening
Okay.
surgery. I was about 10 or 11 when I had the Botox surgery because that's when we moved to Trussville. I remember we were building our house in Trussville, and uh, I've got a vivid memory of I think I was in my walking cast at that point, and I remember just like seeing the foundations of the new house that my parents are building. Um, so yeah, that was right when we moved. That was that I got out of the cast like a month before I started like the fourth grade or something like that. And yeah, that's kind of how I, at least as a young kid, started growing up with it. And as growing into the thing that most people with I would say most people don't think about with people with disabilities is they is we get all this attention in high school, middle school, so on and so forth. But as soon as that ends, you're kind of on your own, or at least that's how I was. And I mean, when I was in my early 20s, I was in lack of a better terms, I was lost in the woods. I didn't really have a I didn't really know what I wanted to do, and uh,
You're not so different. Let
yeah,
me tell you, that
yeah,
is not that
yeah,
unusual there.
yeah. But
Most people, especially in Alabama.
I went to Jeff State for a couple of years. Then I transferred to Alabama, and I actually ran cross country in high school for like 2 years. And the reason that I ran cross country is my all my friends I was in church with, they all ran cross country, and my brother, who was a pretty good athlete in his own right, everyone knew the last name Peterson and knew my brother, so by proxy, they knew who I was, and I had a target on my back. Let me just say that
Man,
much. Going through high school, and I ran cross country in high school, and that introduced me to ultimate frisbee. I actually played ultimate frisbee competitively from 17 till I think I was like 2 years ago, and I'll get to that. Uh, and I the reason that I did that is because I all I had to do was run,
hmm
cut, yada yada yada. I didn't really have to work out. There's a little bit of a thing there. I'm staying away from the weight room, and I started when I transferred to Alabama. I started to dabble in working out, and the thing is, I would go to the gym, but I would be 1 foot out, 1 foot in, 1 foot out, and if I were to do anything, I would have just focused specifically on my lower body. I didn't train upper body at all because I didn't want there to be some kind of like giant muscle. Like I thought that like if I started training my upper body, that my left side was gonna be jacked, and my right side was just gonna be small. And like I was terrified of that for so long. And um I found a routine in the gym. I was kind of doing my thing, but I still was like I was, still playing ultimate frisbee for like the last 10 years. I played club. I was on Alabama's club team. I played on various club teams in um, Alabama, and played in Birmingham's like rec league, Birmingham Ultimate Disc Association. They're still going strong. There's a lot of really good players that are still associated with that league, and about 2 years ago, this is when like really got into my weight loss journey about 3 years ago. And I remember I injured my foot. I injured my left foot in August of 2023. We had a couple games left in the season. It was right before the end of season tournament, and I still to this day, I gun to my head. I don't know what I did. I tweaked something in my left foot, and it took me out for about a year. I wasn't able to run for about a year, and was uh, at that point I was already pretty decent, pretty into my weight loss journey. I was already about 6 or 7 months into it because I found this company called First One. The thing about them is at the time when you signed up, you got paired with an advisor. Ooh, level one bar. Let's go, baby.
Just bought that
I love
yesterday.
it. It's dude, and that was the peanut butter flavor, right?
I think so. Yes. Yeah. It was on sale at
It's so
the
good.
Loves on my way back from Huntsville.
It's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good. But for those that aren't familiar with First Form, you get you get paired with an advisor when you get started with them. When I first started, I was like I'm actually heavier now than I was then, but my body recomp was insane. I was like 167 pounds. I was at like 20 or 25% body fat. I'm guessing. I don't really have an idea, but at that point when I started my weight loss journey, I was scared. I was scared. I was broken. I wanted to really get into like I wanted to actually get into the gym and actually like see if I could, work my right side uh and I was making pretty good, like I was making really, really good strides. There was one point where I just said it was I'm hopping all over the place right now, but in January 2022, 2023, I just remember thinking, screw it, I'm going to I'm gonna commit, go all in, and I'm just gonna see what happens. And from that point, I went from like 167 to 149 to like 149.1 at like 12% body fat, or like 11, like it was like, or like 11.1, or I was really, really lean. Like I looked really good, just because I mean that's the first time I've like legitimately, like that was the first time I've legitimately lost that much weight and actually put on some muscle as I recomped. And then from there, this is and when I was at that lowest weight, that's when I injured my foot, and I don't think that had anything to do with it. But from there, I couldn't run anymore. I leaned uh, into lifting. Uh, that was when I was still at Planet Fitness here in Oxford. I was working at a Planet Fitness. Don't shoot me.
Everybody starts somewhere.
Yeah, I was making really good progress, and then my advisor sent me a PDF of USAPL's adaptive athlete program, or adaptive athlete division, and she said, Jacob, you qualify for each one of these. And this was in June of 2024. And I looked it over for exactly 5 minutes. I looked it over for 5 minutes, showed it to my wife. She said, "Yeah, do it. If you want to do it, if you want to do it, I support you." And uh, I messaged my advisor back, said, "Yeah, screw it, let's go, let's see what happens." And that's when I changed to Club One here in Oxford. And the funny part is the my first meet that I signed up for was a USAPL meet, lifting the house 2024 uh in Georgia. The funny thing is, uh uh PLU's the Club One Classic that year was this was in June. That meet was in August, And I remember seeing it, but at the time I was thinking 2 months, I'm not gonna be ready for it. So I could have been at that meet. I didn't want to dip my feet in too early.
No such thing, by the way.
Yeah, well, I know that now,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
at the time I was God, I was so terrified. So going into my first meet, so there's a couple things that happen here. One, the belt that I was using at the time wasn't in regulation at all. It was like a giant it was just like a just a regular gym belt that you could get from like Dick's Sporting Goods. And it was a big fat one. It wasn't in regulation, so uh one of the judges there said, "Oh, I've got one you can use tomorrow. Just let me know when you get here." I get there and she gives me like this purple like sparkle belt. Like it's like a purpley like sparkly like leather belt. I've never used a leather belt in my life. So I'm trying to figure that out while I'm in the back warming up. And on top of that, again, this is my first meet. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. So I I don't have I didn't bring enough water. I didn't bring enough food. I don't have any this is before I started taking pre-workout. So I don't have like I have nothing. And I've got 8 hours ahead of me. Again, didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
I went 4 for 9 that day. And um God, just thinking back on that, where I am now, a year later, almost a year and like 3 months later, compared to where I am, where I was now to where I was then to where I am now, it's completely night and day. I yeah, I didn't know what the hell I was doing.
Yeah. I mean, there's a couple of lessons there, right? Like, you don't know what you don't know. And then two would be like, if you fail to plan and prepare, then you fail.
Yeah,
So, I mean, but you can't expect, you didn't necessarily have a coach or a mentor in
no,
the space. So,
I
how would
had
you know?
no, yeah, I remember I was, and this like now, all the people that I've met now, it's crazy. But I remember I was YouTubing. Like I was looking up stuff on YouTube, like trying to figure out what I needed to do
That's a
with
great way to do it.
it was yeah, but I just like I wasn't looking at the right stuff, so I just
Yeah.
like I didn't have really a good frame of reference of what a powerlifting meet looked like.
Hmm.
So and that the thing that I will say the positive that came out of that day is I met my future coach at that meet. Um I met I met my future my now coach at the meet. And secondly, I proved to myself that I wanted that I could do something hard like this. I mean, because my entire life I was saving this till later in the late until later, but I'll go ahead and say it. My whole life, I mean, everyone, like, I was told by everyone, like teachers, like other people, other peers, that like I'm not going to be able to do X, Y, and Z because of my disability. I was told that multiple different times. The thing that I allowed I allowed that to shape who I was for the longest time. And when I started my weight loss journey, I just said, screw it. I'm gonna I'm gonna be, I write my own story. No one else does. To me there was a lot of power in that because coming from someone who was told they were never gonna be anything, or that I was in no uncertain terms I'm not supposed to be here. So I proved that I could do something extremely hard that most people wouldn't even try to do.
Yep. I see quite often people that talk about their haters or detractors, but they don't really have. It's like they're made up because they have an internet personality, so people don't like their personality, so they don't like them. They don't want them to win, whatever. But like in your situation, if you are part of a minority, especially,
Yeah. Yeah, I've never thought, I've never thought of it like that
yeah, I
before.
mean it's people that are disabled. Like it's a category of
Yeah,
people, and there's not many of you, especially in like school. And then
and
even
also,
still, there's different levels or variations of disabilities, and it's the same way with. I went to school at a country ass school in Tuscaloosa County, and I played basketball like my whole high school career. That was my thing,
yeah,
and there's 30. It's a 5A school, and there's 30 black people in the school, and I'm around 20 of them every single day. So like you see what people don't think is real, which is like the racism and the uh,
and yeah, all that stuff.
derogatory
Yeah,
statements and things that get thrown out that shouldn't be said. And like I get to witness it and see it in a different light than people think. So when you see people online, especially powerlifters, like the high level powerlifters like USAPL and shit,
yeah,
they always talk about like, these people don't want me to succeed. It's like, yeah, but you've created this following and this personality that people don't like. So that's what they're talking about. But your situation is
and
so different because it's people that
yeah,
actually were talking about you.
yeah. Like yeah. There's one word I'm not gonna say it. I can't say it. It starts with a C. It's all I'm gonna say. Um, that specific word still gets to me to this day. It just if someone says that to me, I'm no.
Yeah,
Uh-uh.
I understand.
But um, but yeah, I've never thought of it like that before. I really haven't.
Yeah.
That and the thing that I've been leaning into more on my social media is um talking about living with mild cerebral palsy, or living with a disability as you grow up with it into your 20s and your 30s. Because that's what I think. Like I said before, I think a lot of people kind of don't understand. Like you, once you're out of like school or college or whatever, you still have to live with this thing. It's not going away. And the thing that I'm trying to do is I'm trying to talk about my experiences and hope that I hope that somebody younger than me sees my page and sees me talking about this stuff and they don't fall into the same pitfalls that I did,
Hmm.
whether it's alcoholism or like or or just losing yourself in food or whatever it is that that they don't fall into any pitfalls like that. They see that they know that they can have a successful career. They can get married. They can have an athletic career if you so please. You can work in IT. You can do whatever it is that you're wanting to do.
I think for one, that's noble. Like to want to help others is always noble, and then two, like you have kind of back to what you said. Like as you get into your 20s and out of school, in school you have a lot of resources around you. Even
Hmm.
if you have other students that don't understand and they're pointing and saying things to you, you still have like teachers, counselors, people that you can rely on for resources on things you can do or things you can get
Hmm.
help with. And then once you get into the real world, people don't
All
really
those
tell you,
resources disappear.
they don't really tell you where to go. They don't tell you that there are things out there that you can do. And I don't know, we haven't met in person, but I don't know if it's something that some people might look at you and not even notice, which can make it worse sometimes.
Yeah,
You know?
because I can tell you if you just look at me. you like my at this point my CP is very much invisible in yeah, very much invisible.
Yeah.
Or you might just think I've like my arm's broken or something
Yeah.
like that. Like that's really like that's what most people have said to me, that like, oh, I didn't even realize it. It just looks like your arm's broken or whatever. Um, getting getting back into getting back into uh, I wanted to keep talking about training for my second meet after uh after my first meet last September. Wanted to I told myself I wanted to going into this year. I told myself I wanted to compete four times I wanted to compete four times inside of a year. And the first thing that I did this year wasn't a powerlifting meet. It was a 10K. It was the first time that I ran since I injured my
I
foot.
see.
I I I I was I trained for it, like actually trained for it, like I was training for a 10K. Did that, and then my next powerlifting meet was a USAPL meet in in um in Savannah, Georgia. And at this point, I've been training at Club One for it was about seven about 7 or 8 months at that point. And I was finally starting to come into my own as far as lifting goes. I understood what my totals were. I understood what my maxes were. I could fit. I could. I I was finally starting to understand powerlifting the way that you're supposed to understand it. And training for it. I made a point that I wanted to show that I could be good day of, because my first meet I essentially bombed out. I went 4 of 9. I was all over the place, and my that next meet in Savannah, I went was it 7? I think yeah, I went 8 of 9. Yeah, no, 7. Yeah, no, I think I went 7 of 9. I can't remember, but um my my total that day was I hit 130, 132 on bench, uh, 315 on deadlift, and what did I do on squat? It was 235 on squat. The one that really hyped me up was my one on bench. Bench for me is my hardest lift still to this day, because that's the one that really requires me to have upper body strength, and I can't just rely on the left side of my body taking the
Hmm.
brunt of the weight to bring it up. And I remember I hit 132. I remember I hit the 132 lift, and I'm sitting on the bench, and you can see it. You can see in the video. You can see my reaction once I rack it, and I'm sitting there, and you see me, and I see the white lights. I just start screaming, "Let's go!" I finally hit it. It's because that's what I felt it on my first meet, where I was going to I I had it on my chest, had the press command, and as I was going up on it on my first meet, the bar tilted on me.
Hmm.
I lost it on my right side, and I just complete the bar tilted on me, and I just lost it. And I remember before that attempt, I'm listening to I can't remember. I was listening to like one of my I think I was listening to Gohan's Anger from Dragon Ball
Yeah.
Z. And I was listening to that track, and I remember I was I was walking back and forth backstage, uh, just looking at the leaderboard, just I was like salivating at the mouth, waiting for my name to come up to do that third attempt, and I kept saying to myself, not this time, no, not again, not this time. I'm not gonna let it happen. And I hit that that 132, and that was the one I was most hyped about because I knew I could hit 315 on deadlift easy, and I'll talk more about my deadlift here in a minute. About how I deadlift. Um, but when after that meet, I went 7 of 9 that day, and on the way back, it's a 5 hour drive. I'm with my parents and my wife, and on the way back, something got something, and an idea came into my head. Best adaptive powerlifter on the planet. That idea, I had 5 hours to think about that on the way back here, and something. And the reason that it came into my head is because, as far as I know, adaptive athletes in powerlifting, it's from everything that I can tell, it's still a relatively new thing. I mean, there's not many adaptive powerlifters out
I will
there.
say the ones I know
Um,
of, or the ones that were had their 15 minutes of fame online, they mostly were uh, missing a leg or two. Those
yeah,
are the only
yeah,
people I
I
can
know
think of.
there's one guy that I know that has reached out to me. Um, has reached out to me. And we've talked. It's one of the heavyweight classes. I can't remember, but he's actually like missing a leg, and I think he did. I think he squatted like 500 or something like that. And it's incredible to watch.
I'd say back in the day when I got started in it, like back in the day in 2018, there was
Hmm.
the one-legged monster, I think was his Instagram, and he went pretty
Hmm. Yeah,
viral for squatting. It had to have been 500 plus, deadlifting close to 600, something like that. And he had one leg. He was a
that's
above the knee
insane.
amputee. I want to say maybe it was military related. And then
Hmm.
there's a guy I've talked to a little bit. The Footless Freak is his Instagram, and then there was I don't remember his first name. Pitbull Rule on Instagram. He has bilateral uh, above the knee amputations.
Yeah, well,
So,
a lot of adaptive athletes that I've seen are what you're
mm-hmm.
saying. People that have got, you know, uh, that are amputees or something like that. There was, I can't remember. I can't remember. I've seen the video. I've got it in my head. This guy literally has no arms, and he is deadlifting. I can't remember the weight. It's like 400 or 5,
Yeah, just with like the
5
straps.
500 pounds, and like just like with the straps, and just like I'm like, okay. I know people saying I'm inspirational. No, 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 no. That guy takes the cake. That guy's inspirational.
There's actually a
So,
guy I know. Um, I don't know what his disability necessarily is. I've talked to him a few times, but his Instagram is one arm power, and his right arm doesn't function, and he does strongman.
that that's oh
He's like
man.
lifting Atlas stones, and um,
Human beings are
he,
resilient,
he's
man. That's
he's
crazy.
got a video on his Instagram of him benching.
The way that I deadlift, because I can't grip anything on my right with my right hand. So I've got to essentially use it's essentially like a grip hook. It's just like a hook that I strap onto my that I strap onto my wrist, and I that's what I use the deadlift with. I mean, um and uh the way that I get that okayed, it's the same process in USAPL and PLU. So if you want to be an adaptive athlete or a parasport athlete in in POU. Essentially, you've got to go through the rule book. You you have to say that basically I can't I can't do X, Y, Z, A, B, and C. Then you get that approved, and then that's your letter that you can that any adaptive any equipment that you have to use that you need that you need you can put it in your letter. Like for example, this is gonna sound really graphic, but I promise you it's not that bad. My my first going back to my first meet, I'm deadlifting 200 I think it's 250. Yeah, it was 250 for my second attempt. And before I say what happens, my right so because of my CP, my right shoulder has all had this always has done this. It will my right shoulder can shift in and out of place. So what happened is, and I didn't tear anything, nothing. I didn't get injured, nothing. Um, as I'm go like as I'm forward in my deadlift position, my I my shoulder is also it goes forward. So as I'm going up, I can feel it
Yeah, like dislocating.
pop like as I'm locking back in, like locking all the way back out, it pops back into place. And I remember thinking to myself at like during the attempt, I'm like, okay, I've got to write this down in my letter because I'm not about to rip my shoulder into pieces. Not happening. So I wrote in a essentially a shoulder brace on my right side. Um, so so that way my so and I also wrote it in. I only use that for my bench and my deadlift just because it's it for bench it's more of a support for my right shoulder so I can so it can bear the weight
Yeah, it's like
and then
stabilizing.
and
Yeah.
yeah so it stabilize it and that's actually helped me a lot. I'm currently I'm fighting for like a and this is gonna sound terrible but my lifts are it's like and this is how it is for everybody. There's always one or two lifts you're really good at, and then there's a third one that's just
Yes.
terrible. My deadlift is by far and away my best. My squat's coming after it. It's close, but my bench because of previously previously what I stated, I can only my max is 35 pounds. It's one plate on each side. It's two plates. 90% of the population should be able to do this. I'm over here struggling with it. It's just but
It, that'll take some figuring out. I mean, you're still very new and you spent a lot of time skipping upper body,
yeah,
which
and
is
not just that.
ironic
It's
because
also a
that's the opposite of what everyone else does. Able bodied people always
yeah,
skip legs. So
yeah,
it's funny.
and it's just it's crazy to me the amount of things powerlifting powerlifting's taught me. Things that I never expected, and going into the next meet. Funny enough, so during the build up into my next meet, which is POU Club One Classic. I think you were supposed to live stream that one, and something happened, and
The Club One Classic,
yeah, from this year.
yeah, I probably was supposed to do that. I was in PT school, so it was some exam of some sort that took precedence.
Something
I
fell
couldn't
through.
get the 5 hour drive in me up there probably.
Yeah, I
I was
got
in
you,
Mobile, so
but
unfortunate. But I'm done. So if you do another one, I'll be there. I've already kind of
yeah,
booked it up to be present at all the next ones.
but yeah, going into that meet, I remember I was extremely happy about it because all I've got to do is I've got to make a drive that I make every single
Yeah,
day.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, I've got a 10-minute drive ahead of me. It's the same drive I make every single morning at 5:45, and it ain't nothing. But the thing that people don't understand is there's a difference between training and a difference between when the lights are bright. Because I remember I was driving up to the gym at on meet day, and the butterflies are there. I'm freaking out. The reason I'm freaking out this time is because I've got like I've got friends and family that have never seen me
Yeah.
compete. They're are coming. I've got people that I know that train in the area uh, that are going to be there, and and for me, this is the first time I've actually really met a lot of people. And funny enough, guess who my handler was for that meet? You just had him on.
Oh, Michael.
It was Michael.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I actually went to how I met him is he was having a deadlift seminar a couple of months before that, and that's when we first met each other. And um he was he's been giving me pointers, and he's really one of my first mentors that I've had in the
It's a good
sport.
one to have.
And not dude, he's Michael's a genius when it comes to powerlifting.
Genius, nerd, whatever.
And I yes, yes to both. But yeah, it's crazy because going into that meet, I was not relatively unknown. I was unknown in Alabama when it comes to powerlifting, and that's when I met Christy from Team Smurf, and uh, a lot of people from um, the Gadsden
Oh
area,
yeah,
and just like I
Marius and
met
all of the
I was at
those
yeah
guys.
yeah. Oh, I love
Yeah,
Marius.
we
Marius,
all do.
I love him to death. I've actually been actually I'm not gonna reveal that right now,
No reveals.
uh
Keep your
but
secrets.
oh, I will, trust me. But that one meant a lot to me because I at every meet I've got the chance to tell my story. And I remember I so I went 8 of 9 that day, and the only one that I missed was my second attempt on squats. And I remember the only reason that I missed it is when I was in the hole. I think I just stayed in the hole for like literally a half a second too long, and I got stuck there. And my like the right side of my body like spasmed out and just said, "Nope, we're not coming up. We can't do it." And um yeah, my body just like shut down on me. And I remember I went back there, and Marius and Alabama Fat Boy Kyle, um they both they both talked to me before my next attempt, and just essentially told me to lock in and that I've got this. Because uh I've told Kyle this 100 times at this point, but his pep talk like got me through it. Because I was and same thing with Marius. They both like because I was pissed, and they basically both told me to use it. Like, you can do this, so go do it. And um that and my last attempt on deadlift, I think that's a core a core memory for me as far as like powerlifting goes. It's always going to be. It's so uh they Christy was we had the choice of a third attempt walkout on our final attempt, and I choose to go on Zanger again. I'll get to the reason why that's always my third attempt walkout in a second. I remember I um I went out there to go to go take it, and I've got you can see it in the video. Everyone behind me is screaming their heads off. You can if you and you can specifically Arius and Kyle, they're both screaming their heads off. I do I do this thing every time I get done with my third attempt. I always let out this like primal just scream. It's just the thing that I do. And I remember you can see Marius like screaming and hopping up and down in the video. And then afterwards we had he gave me a big hug afterwards. And I remember I just like that meet meant so much to me as far as validation of what I think of myself, and the impact that I have had around other people. The impact that I've had so far in powerlifting is something I never expected. Like I just wanted something to challenge myself. That's all I wanted. I didn't want to I never expected to make any kind of impact at all. And here we are.
Yeah, it doesn't take much. It just takes one person. Um, that was a lot. I have more of a medical question, like medical side of it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Um, with your CP, do you have any? You didn't. You said you didn't have many like spasms, but do you have any spasticity in your arm or leg?
I I think I
Yeah.
do. I've give me the I'm a little dumb. Give me the give me the give me the definition of
So it would be like that feeling of if you extended your if you extended your arm fast
yeah.
and it gets caught, it won't extend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now that you yeah, now that you actually now that I like know what yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that does happen to me
Okay.
a lot. Specifically on my right arm, not so much my right leg, because I've got because it's my CP is really it's really weird. I'm able to I've actually had a lot of like really good strength built into my right leg,
Yeah.
but my right arm, my right the right like side of my like upper body, it's a I hate it. It like as far as by that I mean like trying to build strength in it. That's the part
Yeah.
that I hate because it's
You have like
just
a
like
connection issue,
yeah,
right?
it's annoying. I mean that's the best way I can describe it. It's
That it
frustrating.
makes sense with how you said like your shoulder likes to dislocate. Like it's just kind of from top down, just not quite stable. Uh
Yeah.
then my next question, with the adaptations they allow you to do, um,
hmm
I've seen your videos, but I can't quite remember. Do you pull conventional? Okay.
yes, because sumo's cheating.
Well,
I'm
uh,
just gonna put that out
you
there.
use a hook, so
Yeah,
you're already cheating. Let's be real.
yeah, that's
That's like the that's
yeah,
like the
yeah,
Michael
yeah, yeah.
that's like
It's
the
fair.
Michael Pistorius running with the blades is I don't know if you remember
Yeah,
that, but
no, I remember that. Yeah, I remember that I remember that very very
yes,
well.
so
Yeah,
it's that's similar to that. But I would think
but
sumo would help you.
I'm joking. Yeah, I'm joking. Sumo's not cheating. You can lift however you want. It's as long as you get
I
it,
feel
it's
like
fine.
with the adaptation for deadlift, I feel like sumo would
hmm
be better for you.
Yeah,
Easier to
it's
line up.
well, I've actually had to retinker
Hmm.
my approach on deadlift just because that's the I don't know if it's a leverage thing or what it was, but if I'm like straight conventional, it's like I can't get enough I can't get enough leverage. It's weird, but I've I've spread it out a little bit to where it's not. it's in between
Yeah,
like conventional and
gotcha.
sumo. That's that's kind of where I am. But I've thought about going to sumo, but it's just at specifically with where I am now. I've already made one change, and this I made this change like right after region, like right after USAPL regionals like 8 weeks ago, and that's what I've been doing the last 8 weeks is just perfecting the new approach, and I don't want to make another change because
Fair.
I've already put in 8 9 weeks of trying to figure this out, and um the block that I've got this week, if I can hit 315 this week the way that I think I can, then I think my approach is good because yeah, I'm in a very good place strength wise right now with how I've remade a few things. So
I had another point on bench. Have you seen the
hmm
video of the guy that did the quote unquote meme lifts where he went in and did like a weird super hinged squat and then his bench, he put one hand in the center of the bar, the dead center, and the other hand went all the way out to the edge where the plates are. So maybe you need to check the rules out and see if that's something you can do in at your next meet. He
hmm
did it at USAPL, I believe, but that might be an option if your right hand is more of a detriment and you don't see it getting like improving. That might be an option.
uh-huh. Well, my next meet is kind of a big one next June in
So might be still might be
at
an option.
yeah.
That takes the
I've
right hand out of
that
it more and makes it more for like balance.
hmm But then I'd be more pressing, trying to press.
But if your right hand is
I'll
yeah,
tinker
if
with
your
it.
right hand is holding you back, then it
Yeah,
might improve. The guy I was going to show you, James Spurgeon. I'll just do that real quick.
yeah.
He's we'll go back to that to throw it back to that. I've followed him for a while, but he even has a uh, benching 200 pounds with a singular arm.
I think I have seen this. No, I think I have seen this guy.
Singular arm. So I mean, but
That's
he's
crazy.
very
That's
strong. He
insane.
squats
Yeah,
600.
like that.
Bench.
There's like that's just raw. That's just straight up raw
Well, he's been doing
strength.
it for a
Like
long ass time too. But I
yeah,
mean, here's like what is it, 617 pound squat. I mean, that's insane to do it. To in my brain to think about doing it with one arm, like his right arm is not even on the bar. I can't even imagine.
yeah.
So, anyways, it's pretty
That's
crazy
that's insane.
that people are out there doing this stuff, and you're now one of them.
Yeah, yeah,
I think that's pretty cool. Uh,
yeah.
hopefully,
And
you said your next one's in June. Where's it at?
next,
Okay,
Chicago. It's it's if things pan out, it's USAPL
okay,
Nationals.
cool.
So it's USAPL Raw Nationals. I qualified at regionals, and I've said it this entire time. I mean it, and I'm gonna do it. I am going to be the best adaptive powerlifter on the planet. Like bar none, that's the goal. And I it's I just know I can do it. I know I can, and I'm not going to give myself any other option. That's just how like the mental transformation that I've had over the last 3 years has been insane. And I know what I'm capable of now, and I'm just gonna I'm gonna do it. That's the only option that I have. I'm not giving myself any other out. I'm doing it.
I like to hear it. I think, I mean, grand goals are good to have. It just now you put together the pieces of these small short-term goals and just keep stacking the wins.
The thing that gets me about being an adaptive athlete, specifically someone that's I compete at 75 kg. That's one of the more populated. uh, divisions in the
Yep.
sport
In general.
in just
Yep.
period. And the total and the thing that I have to remind myself is the totals that I've seen guys put up at meets that are at my weight class, it's double what I'm currently doing. And I've got to keep in mind a couple different things. For one, I'm an adaptive athlete. I literally, like chief among them, I'm literally working at like half capacity. B, number two, I've only been doing this for a like a year and
Yep.
a half. I am very, very, very early in my development in this game. I mean, dude, I want to be competing till I'm 60, 70. Like I love the community. I love the atmosphere. Something about being at a meet and competing. There's something about that energy that just it gets me. I don't know what it is, but it's insane and I love it.
It is awesome. My only advice in that space is going to be don't burn out, which means
Yeah. I've
like don't look at whatever, I don't know their names right now off the top of my head. They're like top level people. You can't look at them. Yeah, Austin.
Austin.
You can't look at them too much because it can bring you down. Just like you said, you have to remind yourself that you're adaptive. But even then, if you find like a super strong adaptive athlete, you can't compare themselves to you. You have to compare yourself to you. You know,
Yeah. And what I'm
you're
trying to
going
do.
against yourself every time you compete. It's less
Hmm.
about what other people are doing and more about what you are going to do. And
And the thing that gets me is I've had like that POU meet at at Club One. The amount of people that came up to me and said that I was an inspiration
yeah,
during the
right.
meet back there, like other power lifters
Yeah.
back there in the midst of all that chaos, they're telling me that I'm a inspiration and all this other stuff because I there's it's funny. Um, one of one of Marius's uh team members, she I was leaving the gym one day. I was at one of the deadlift platforms, just getting my stuff together. She walks up, we start talking, and she tells me that she was telling her daughter on my I think it was like my second or third attempt on the day on deadlift, like why I've got to use the my grip hook and like that I've got like CP and all this other stuff. And her daughter asks her, and he still goes out do, and and does this to spot all that. And she says, yeah. And it's I mean that's something that I'm never gonna get used to that me that I'm an inspiration to either other peers or people younger than me. I'm just a I'm just an anime nerd that got strong. It's like in all seriousness, I am just a nerd who got made fun of that decided to get strong. I can say that that's probably the same story for 90% of powerlifters because anime and powerlifting just go together like PB and J. I don't know why, but it just is. And that goes to my next point. Why Gohan's anger is my third attempt to walk out. So, a quote that Goku says to Gohan when he's training him in the time chamber to get ready to fight Cell. He's trying to get Gohan to go Super Saiyan for the first time, and he says this quote to him: "Power comes in response to a need, not a desire. You have to create that need." And for some reason that always spoke with me as a kid, and I've never had a desire to be strong. I've never needed it or never craved it. I never wanted to be strong. What I found is I have a need for it, and it's not to just put up superhuman amounts of weight or show like do this shit. Look at me, how strong I am. Yada yada. No, none of that. The need that I have is to show other people like me that have cerebral palsy that you can have this kind of strength, and it is possible. And not only that, but it also helps me. I mean, in no uncertain terms, protect my family if I need to, and and that's what I'm focusing on is to be able to my need for strength is to be able to show other people like me that it's possible to chase your goals, whatever that might be.
I think it's perfect. And you know, um, don't ever water down what impact you might have because you never know. If you think about like the Hoyts and what their
Hmm.
impact was across the world, and it was just a guy pushing his son. He didn't that it was never his goal to be an inspiration, but just existing is how they became that inspiration. And it's all the way down to
Hmm.
like you never know who is on the other side of that door. I was in the hospital treating a guy that had just had his hip replaced, and he had run with the Hoyts and pushed someone himself.
Hmm.
So like done so many races where he's pushing someone with CP. So I mean it's there's a lot more people out there that have heard those stories than you think, and they maybe not
Hmm.
surprised if they see you lifting, but they can see another example of why they can't give up with whatever they're going through or doing. So,
Hmm. Exactly. And I just think that that message now needs to be put out now more than ever. And just I just I've I would have never, let me say this, I would have never I would not be here if I hadn't have found powerlifting, if it was never introduced to me. I mean, I knew what it was. I knew what strongman was, I mean, I I never thought that I would be powerlifting ever. You want me to you want me to do that? Not ain't no way I can do that. And now, a year and a half into my journey, I am a 75 kg adaptive athlete that is a Southeast regional champion in USAPL that qualified for Raw Nationals in Chicago next June. All because well, I just wanted to challenge myself, and all this other stuff that's came my way. That's a
yeah,
happy accident.
yep, that's a good way to put it. I think that's a good way to finish it off too. This time,
Yep. I think that'll do it. And where you can find me if you want to, I'm going to plug two things. Um, my Instagram page, the JC Peterson, and if you guys are into Star Wars content, Tales from Tashi Station, and I will spell it TOSCHE Station. It's a play on words from A New Hope, if you know the line. And you can find both of those on Instagram, and uh, Star Wars my Star Wars my Star Wars YouTube page is the same exact name.
good deal.
So,
Perfect. Well, I appreciate you coming on. This was awesome.
and dude, I'm just
Yeah,
glad you
of
gave me the time
course.
of day. That's uh that I just I'm grateful for you and to be on the I believe it's the voice of Alabama powerlifting. I believe that's the nickname
Is
here.
it?
Yeah, I think it will, or that's
I
what I've
didn't
been
even know
hearing.
that,
So
but that's fantastic. Yeah, anything I can do to help, I like to promote what's going on in our state. We have a pretty decent powerlifting. All of a sudden, we would have won at POU nationals. We would have won best team if we had a team. If it would have been
I love
like
it.
going by state, Alabama would have won the entire nationals as a team. So our sport is growing here, and
I'm here for it. Yeah, we've got there's a lot of
there's
monsters
quite a few.
that are in this state, and the to be to be amongst them is an honor. I feel like I haven't earned my keep yet, but
We'll figure it
keep
out.
watching me. Oh, I'll
Maybe
get
we
there.
can
I
make a
promise.
Alabama adaptive powerlifting team as well. Maybe we can
I'd
figure that
I'd
out.
I'd love to be the head of it. I'd love to
Well,
figure that
that
out.
that'll be
Don't
the
tempt me.
next thing. All right.
Yes, sir. All right, man. Thanks again. Thank you for having me, and I hope I
I
inspired
think so.
somebody.
Inspired me.
Hey, thanks, man. See ya.